Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of SGA Live. We are excited once again to be coming to you live and direct from the Gutman Community College Zoom channels during our pandemically imposed isolation. And so, in response to that situation, the SGA and the Office of Student Leadership and Campus Life have created the SGA Live. And this tool is an opportunity for you to get to know the members of your student government association and also an opportunity to have some conversations around topics of relevance. So, our hope is that as you meet your SGA members and they share their particular interest, that this will spark conversations across a number of different topics. And so, topics that we've touched on through this point have been things like scholarship, how to cook and eat on a budget, um, anime, comic books, and Dominican heritage. And so, in keeping with that theme, we bring to you today one of our second year students who's getting ready to graduate, who has been a part of the Gutman fabric for 2 years and has really set herself apart as one of our tried and true, always shows up for everything and is a part of so many different things on campus. And so please welcome Angelica Grandizio, otherwise known as Angel. Angel, good morning, and how are you today?
Good morning. I am doing well. Still trying to wake up, but almost there.
Totally get it. A lot of us are trying to still wake up. I'm still trying to wake up from when I went to sleep in March. So I know the feeling. Angel, before we get into your discussion today, which is going to be a very insightful discussion of the Mayan culture in Guatemala, let's learn a little bit about you, the student, you, the second year getting ready to graduate and move forward in your academic career. Give us a little bit about like where you're from, what you've done at Gutman, what you intend to do as you leave us, all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. Um, well, actually, I've been at Gutman for 3 years now because I took a gap, took a minor semester off. So, in 2019. Um, what else?
What are you studying? What's your major? Like that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Um, well, I am studying to become a special education teacher for kids with disabilities from pre-K to third grade. Um, my major is human services. Um, I plan on my plan is to really go on to Syracuse University because of my father, because he went there and he studied there, but a different section of the school in Syracuse. So, but yeah.
That is pretty cool. Syracuse University, one of the top colleges in New York. I've had occasion to visit their campus. Lovely campus. Extremely cold. Very cold in upstate New York. So good luck with
Thank you.
that as you prepare to make a transition, and that's an awesome career path. Special education, certainly something that many of our students need. Folks who are uh, invested in them, that care about the education of that community, and from my experience in education, one of the more underserved communities. And so the more people that we can have there paying attention to them and helping them accomplish their goals, the better off we are. So I wish you a lot of success, and I can't wait to see you wearing the blue and orange of the Syracuse. That's going to be pretty cool.
Thank you.
So today's conversation is about the Mayan culture in Guatemala. So give us a little bit about why you wanted to talk about this.
Well, I'm from and adopted from Guatemala. Um, I have pictures of my birth mother and my birth grandmother, but you'll see that in the presentation, just a little picture of me as a baby with them. Um, What else? I
Have
don't
you
have
have you
many.
had a chance to go back to Guatemala since you've been here in the States to visit, or is this still something that like is part of your future plans?
It's still part of my future plans. I really want to meet my birth mother because I don't really have any memories of her as a baby. So
Well, that's very cool, and I for one definitely hope that you get a chance to get out to Guatemala. Certainly, I'm a big fan of people going back to their countries of origin and getting an opportunity to reconnect with the critical pieces of their identity and their DNA. So I hope you're able to do that and sometime soon. Maybe even before you go to Syracuse. That would be an awesome kind of a thing to do. So without much further ado, let's get this presentation rolling. I'm gonna do a screen share, so it's gonna change up what we're doing here, and so give me one moment to do that. Screen share.
all right.
I know. Share the screen. Screen 3 with the sound. Here we go. Okay. So everybody should be seeing the Guatemalan flag. Is that where we're at?
Yes.
Okay. So you tell. We'll move forward. So this is the Mayan culture in Guatemala. All right.
Okay. Go on.
Okay. So this is your show, Angel.
All right. Um, about myself and why I chose this topic. Well, my birth name is Angelica Maria Colich Each, and I am a Mayan descendant. I was born in Cajabancito, Guatemala. My birth mother gave birth to me at the age of 16 years old, and her name is Maria Elisa Colich Each. And my mother's mother, aka my grandmother, is Dominga Ich Zol. And the reason I'm talking about the Mayan culture is because I personally wanted to know more about my ancestors and their history. And it's fascinating that the more I learn about my heritage is that kind of gives me more on what my ancestors did back then and how they lived. The location and border of Guatemala. Guatemala is located in Central America and it shares borders with Mexico to the north and west, Belize and the Caribbean Sea to the northeast, Honduras to the east, El Salvador to the southeast, and the Pacific Ocean to the south. Who were the Mayans? The Mayans The Maya folk refers to a group of people that is a native to Mesoamerica. The term Maya is a collective name that encompasses a group of people hold that had some similarities in things like culture, language, among other things. However, this term has evolved and has been used to describe other groups that did not have similarities. In cases, the word "fin" has been used to describe a group of tribes and cultures that have their own unique cultures and traditions. The region they inhabit, Mesoamerica, spreads from the north parts of Mexico all the way to Central America and is one of the 6 cradles of civilization in the world. On the current map, the Maya civilization encompasses areas around southeastern Mexico, the entirety of Belize and Guatemala, and western regions of El Salvador and Honduras. They were a collective group of people who rise to give to one of the greatest ancient civilizations, the Maya civilization. Arguably, the most notable thing about the Mayan civilization was their hieroglyphic scripts. The script they used was the most advanced of their time. Other things they have marketed the Maya civilization as unique include art, mathematics, astronomical systems, and the calendar system. In their development of the cities, the Mayans exhibited some haphazardness. The layout did not seem to have any particular format. Almost always the residential houses and districts were formed irregularly and designs besides the city center. However, while not heavily talented in the arrangement of cities, their architecture was unrivaled. Evidence of the architectural prowess can be seen in structures such as palaces, temples, structures for observing astronomy, and courts for holding balls. Facts you didn't know about Guatemala. The original name of Guatemala was, don't know how to pronounce that.
I'm gonna take a shot here and say it's Guatemala or Guatemala, Guatemala, which pretty much sounds like Guatemala.
Yes, it does. Which means place of many trees in the Mexican language, Nahuatl. I think that's how it's pronounced.
That's Nahuatl.
Gotcha. Nahuatl. In fact, most of the names were given by the Mexican warriors that accompanied the Spanish troops during the colonization time in Guatemala. Among the earliest Maya, a single language existed, but by the pre-classic period, a great linguistic diversity developed among the various Maya people. In modern-day Mexico and Central America, around 5 million people speak some 70 Maya languages. Most of them are bilingual in Spanish. So there are various of temples and sacred places around Guatemala. The first one in Guatemala is the Tikal Temple. I have listed many temples in Tikal, but I guess I didn't put it like a description of like what is the Tikal, but that was my fault. The El Morado ruin that is in Guatemala. El Morado is located deep within the virgin rainforest of the Morado Basin, which is in turn a parcel of the Maya Biosphere Reserve. El Morado is truly the lost Mayan city, a huge site. Some say the largest Maya city in existence. In the jungle of northern Guatemala, it is the Morado Basin, a vast area of virgin rainforest which also contains dozens of Maya ruins. Did I just say that again, or did I repeat myself? I can't remember. I think I lost my place.
It's okay.
Which also contains dozens of Maya ruins, include several large cities. The largest of which is the one known as El Morado, which means the lookout. El Morado flourished as a trading center from around 200 BC to 150 AD during what is known as the Maya pre-classic period. Another place in Guatemala is the Quirigua.
I would say that's Quirigua.
Quirigua. Quirigua is home to some of the most profound, glorious, and artistic stone monuments ever built by the Maya. including the largest monolithic monument in Mesoamerica. I've listed the many Quariga um, uh, architects and other stone pieces there too. The Mayan sport. The Mayan sport that the Mayans played was the American ball game. The ball game dates to 3,500 years, and making it the first organized games of sports. To the Maya, it was a matter of life and death, and one of the reasons for human sacrifice. The gods needed human blood and hearts to keep the sun and moon in orbit. Some ball games were played to resolve bitter disputes between rival cities or as a proxy of war. The Maya also saw the game as a battle between the gods of death and the gods of life, or between good and evil, to be more specific. They also saw it as a reminder of the hero twins, who overcame death and became demigods themselves. Thus, the game symbolizes regeneration and life. About the Mayan calendar. The Mayans used three different calendars. Most of the Mayan dates note back both the day of the Tolscan and the Hab calendar. For example, a day might be marked as 2 Chikachan, or I think that's right, 5 Pop, with 2 Chikachan being the date in the Tzolkin calendar. What is the Tzolkin? The Tzolkin date is a combination of two week lengths. The Mayan calendar used 2 different lengths of weeks. The number week of 13 days, in which days were numbered from 1 to 13. A week of 20 days, in which the names of the days were. Sorry, I guess I didn't finish typing that out. In the diagram on the left, it shows the day symbols. What is the Hab? The Hab was the civil calendar of the Mayas. It consisted of 18 months of 20 days, followed by 5 extra days, known as Uyab. Is that right?
Yep, that sounds about right.
Okay.
At least as far as words that we don't really know, you're doing a really good job with them.
Thank you. This gives a year length of 365 days. The name of the months are in the table below.
Do any of those look familiar? I don't think so. I mean, outside of knowing the words pop and mac. Yeah, okay.
What is the long count? The long count is really a mixed base 20 base 18 representation of a number, representing the number of days since the start of the Mayan era. It is thus akin to the Julian day number. The basic unit is the kin day, which is the last component of the long count. Going from right to left, remaining components are which is shown in the table below.
Yeah, I don't know that I can make heads or tails of what this is.
Yeah,
All
I didn't
right.
understand what it meant by that either. So
Yeah. I mean, but the Mayan calendar, is one of those things that comes up often in social media. People talk about it in particular significance to December 20th, 2020. Something is supposed to happen on that day, and I think it's supposed to be revealed by the Mayan calendar, but your guess is as good as mine. Let's see what else you got here.
the weapons that Mayans used. It is said about the first human settlers in Guatemala, which dates to 10,000 BC. But there is some evidence that puts this to date to 18,000 BC.
Oops. I went too far ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. The evidence includes an obsidian arrowheads, which was discovered at different archaeologist sites. Archaeologists include that the early Guatemalan settlers were hunters and gatherers. In the picture of an arrowhead I found on a website, obsidian arrowheads, which was discovered at one of the various locations in Guatemala. In the picture above, although you may not see it, the arrowhead contains blood on it. These arrowheads were used for hunting, survival, and for ritual.
Don't want to get caught on the wrong end of that.
More of the weapons used by the Mayan warriors. The Mayan warriors used as weapons were long distance weapons, melee weapons. Is that right?
Yep.
Defensive weapons, and unusual weapons. The long distance weapons. The Mayans had both long distance weapons and melee weapons. The long distance ones include a bow and arrow, blowgun, sling, and throwing spears. When the little, is that right?
Your guess is as good as mine. I'll go with addle.
Okay. Or spear throw was brought to the Mayans from
This one I do know. Teotihuacan.
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 Teotihuacan, around 400 AD. It was quickly adopted and became the Mayans' dominant long-distance weapon. The atala greatly increased the accuracy, force, and range of the spear. When thrown from an ladle, a spear reportedly could pierce through the Spaniards' metal armor. That I did not know, which is interesting. The blowgun was predominantly used for hunting, but it had some wartime uses as well. Mayan warriors used bow and arrows more during the post-classical era. The melee weapons. When armies clashed in battles, they used melee weapons, including clubs, axes, stabbing spears, and knives. The Mayan war club resembled that the...
So what we're going to say here is Makua Witil. Makua Witil.
Makua Hatil of the Aztecs, in that it was lined with obsidian blades on 3 sides. These 42-inch long clubs could stun, break bones, or cut. They were capable of cutting off a horse's head. Mayans also used axes with heads of stone, obsidian, flint, or bronze. The sharp edge of the axe could kill, but the dull edge could stun. The object of the battle was often to capture, not kill, enemy warriors, making the axe a good weapon. In hand-to-hand combat, the Mayans used the same 10-inch blade knives they used in sacrifices.
That's a pretty long blade right there.
Yes, it is. The defensive weapons. The Mayans built fortifications around some of their cities. Examples of this include Sabel and Tikal. For defense warriors...
Oops.
Okay. For defense, warriors carried shields, and elites and veterans wore thick cotton armor treated with rock salt that could withstand obsidian. Helmets were unknown, and warriors wore elaborate head headdresses instead. Warriors also used body paint and animal skin to show their status. The unusual weapons. The Popolvo, the Book of the Quiche Maya, tells of hornets and wasps used as defensive weapons. When attackers came, defending warriors had guards filled with hornets that they threw into the midst of the attackers. Wow, that's just harsh. And no, my ancestors were that defensive. Hornets out of the gourds and angrily attacked, killing many warriors. The defenders won the battle. And that is then here I used many websites to find what I used in the presentation.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So we stop the screen share. Let's stop the screen share. And now we're back. So you did all this research and you learned some stuff about your heritage. What stood out to you as you underwent this journey of discovery and learned a little bit about uh, the peoples that you come from?
Um, what I what I've learned about my ancestors is that they, I guess, like they had a lot of like, I guess they like kind of like had a lot of stuff going on in that era, and it was just interesting to find out about what they did during that era, how they were, how they did the battles or defending their territory and such.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've learned in the few stops in the history that I've done is that a lot of these ancient civilizations, the Mayan, the Aztec, the Taino, um, had really developed a way of protecting themselves in battle when it's standard warfare. But the losses that they suffered came as a result of disease that were brought in from the colonizers who came in. So um, our battle tactics were powerful and really good for stopping folks from coming in and taking over. But what they could not prepare against was disease that came in from these other cultures. Um, but it certainly sounds like they developed a lot of the technologies that we used and were pretty advanced civilizations. They had 3 different calendars,
Yeah,
multiple forms of weaponry and tactics in battle. I mean, throwing gourds filled with honey and wasps at your enemy so they can be overtaken by insects is a pretty cool tactic.
yeah.
Um, what else? I mean, so as you discovered this thing and you did your family history, are there things that you didn't know about yourself or that have intrigued you even more to want to do a deeper dive into your roots?
It certainly has. What was interesting to find was that the the Mayans predicted doomsday of 2012, but they were wrong because they thought it was the end of an era,
Mm,
sort of say. So it was interesting to find out that the Mayans were the uh, were the ones to, I guess, like find out like when was doomsday gonna predict when doomsday was gonna happen. But it didn't. They said it was supposed to happen in December 21st of 2012,
hmm.
but it didn't happen. Didn't happen. So
It's interesting though that a people from such a time ago were even thinking about a concept like the end of days. For folks that for many people they lived in the jungles and they lived in these elaborate cities, but they had a calendar that seemingly was tied to the movement of the stars, and they did a whole mapping system that then they used to think about when the end of the world would come. Um, and that's not something that maybe you would attribute to an ancient civilization, that they might think that far ahead. Um, and now we're looking at December 20th, so just 12 days from now, we'll see if the calendar lines up again or not. Um, in terms of uh, understanding your heritage and your culture, I think you mentioned in your presentation that there's like over 70 different languages or dialects. Is learning that language something that's of interest to you? Do you think that you're going to try to pick some of that stuff up in advance of maybe a trip back to Guatemala?
Um, well, I don't really know if I want to like learn of the 70 or 70 of the different dialects. Um, but I would love to go back to my country and see the monuments in person and possibly meet my birth mother again.
Yeah, that sounds like that would be an amazing experience. And for someone like myself and like many of the students at Gutman who can trace their lineages and their roots back to other countries and nations in the world, I'm always fascinated uh, by this idea of going home to our ancestral homes, right? The thing that's encoded into our DNA. For myself, going to Puerto Rico as a child was a magical kind of thing. But then going back as an adult was a completely different experience because I now had the opportunity to think critically about some of these things and understand the history and the legacy of where my ancestors come from. So I can only imagine what that might be like for you going back to not only reconnect with uh, your family, your biological family, but also the birthplace of the generations of people that led to your being on this planet, which is kind of trippy and cool all at the same time.
Yep.
Are there any specific images or in your research any things that you found that you were like, wow, this is really speaking to me? Because I saw that you talked about sports. And if there's anything I've learned about you in the past 2.5, 3 years, is that you definitely are a sports person.
Yeah, I'm very athletic. I do like I don't know how many sports I do. Um, but as for the sports of Guatemala, like I honestly I do not want to learn how to play that sport because to them it was of life or death.
Yeah.
So um,
I mean, the picture looked like a version of soccer, and I think if you trace the lineage of soccer, it does go back to the ancient civilizations. They played with the rounded ball. They didn't use their hands. There was the idea of keeping it away from your enemy while also trying to score. Uh, and I think that was present in many of the what I'll call the ancient civilizations, the like I said, the Maya, the Aztec, the Carib, the Taino, the Arawak, and those other nations of civilization at that time. Because we can't call it America at that time because this is pre all that stuff, pre colonization, pre disease, and all that stuff. So we want to thank you, Angelica, for taking us on this journey to Guatemala and keeping with a theme that I think SGA established last year. Some members have looked to their ancestry and their heritage as a way of helping to uh, talk to the community and give insights into the many different places that we all come from and attempt to celebrate our cultures and our identities. Um, and Miguel actually asked, "Do you think you have some of your sports skills from your Mayan ancestors?" So it's possible, right?
yes, it's possible that I did. Yes.
Yeah, That's some good stuff. So, Angel, what last thoughts do you have for the community, for this very large crowd that assembled here today to come support you on your presentation on SGA Live? What kind of things do you want to say to the people as we get ready to call it a day?
Well, first things first, my parents, as you can see, my mom, which is one that's waving. And then there's my dad, who is just sitting there, not not showing his face, but I can understand that. um, but but mostly I want to thank them because they were the ones that adopted me and took me into their lives.
Very cool. And so to let me see here if I got this right. Lenny and Lenore Rothbard Grandizio, thank you for bringing Angel into our lives, for letting her be a part of this Gutman family. She definitely has been a grizzly from the start and showed up in my office early and often and has been a part of so many things. And we're excited for your future, Angel. You know that aspiration of going to Syracuse is dope, and I cannot wait to see you accomplish that and do many amazing things with your life. But even more than that, I hope that you're able to get back to Guatemala, see your birthplace, your birth parent, um, and maybe find something that has been missing. You know, I think that's a lot of the reason why people start to investigate where they came from and who they are, because it gives them an idea of where they might end up in the future. And so I
Yeah,
so totally support that for you. Um, but it wouldn't be me if I didn't say I really so totally support you graduating. Like that's probably the most important thing in the immediate future as we get ready to call it a wrap on 2020. I was ready to call it a wrap on 2020 back in April, but we had another couple of months that we had to get through. So, folks, family, we thank everyone for showing up. The Rothbart family, the Grandizio family, of course, Latoya, Joanna, who are here every week supporting us and offering support on the back end, and members of the SGA, members of the Gutman community. We thank you for taking an hour out of your week to be with us during SGA Live. We hope you learned a little bit about Guatemala. We certainly hope you learned a little bit about Angel, and now have a desire to learn a little bit more about yourselves as you move through this thing called life, and we get ready to move into 2021. Angel, thank you so much. We hope you have a great rest of the week, and to everybody else, peace, happiness, and love as we move through the holiday season. Finals is almost here, and then it's the Christmas or the holiday season, and then the new year will hopefully change all of our fortunes for the better. That being said, you are all amazing folks. We thank you for being with us, and we wish you an amazing rest of the week. Peace.